see on the live. Yeah, we're live.
Yay!
So, okay, so oh, by the way, we can also see the number of viewers here. I don't know if you can see them.
No, I think it's just on yours.
I cannot see.
Okay, so anyways, welcome to our first live stream from the first day of Eurovision 2021 rehearsals, day one, and 6 + 1 countries hit the stage with Australia's tape having been broadcast. And yeah, so for let's start with that. And we saw the stage for the first time, like in action.
Sorry, you froze a little bit, so I have no idea what we're talking about.
Our connection is a little bit unstable, but yeah, I asked you what were your impressions about the staging and like stage and overall today. Yeah, just a quick intro.
Yeah, actually, we should probably. Well, people can see who we are, I guess. So, but yeah, I think that the stage was actually beautiful. I like the way it was set up with the LEDs. There's a lot of space there for all kinds of like lighting effects. I mean, the one thing that I was missing a little bit was the non-digital effects. I mean, like Eurovisions in the past, we had a lot of wind machines, we had a lot of pyro. You know, these kind of like really super kitschy, fun elements. And the staging this year seems to be very, very digital. So to me, there wasn't a lot of room for those traditional elements. But the big LEDs and the lighting effects were in general like amazing. The quality was very, very high. And I think a lot of the artists used those effects. I mean, some of them might have overused it or like kind of stretched a little bit to use them. But I think in general, it was done really well. And it looked really expensive, like across the board.
It looks high, but also like high quality. And what I liked is that it's aired. It's like big. Yeah. So it'll fit a lot of people in there. And also, as Rin has already said, it's much more, I don't know, high technology friendly than what we were used in the past with like, I don't know, pyro on stage and things like that.
Yeah.
But I guess they do that because, I don't know, this year the audience in the arena is going to be like pretty small with what we had in the past. So they will be more camera friendly.
Yeah, that's true. I think on the TV cameras, this is going to look, you know, really impressive. Maybe even more so than what it does in person.
Actually, I also like the stage a lot because my expectations were high. Because the thing is, the stage is actually really, you know, it's not a complicated stage. Like it's like a geometrical shape.
Yeah, it's not like, a stethoscope. Like just
yeah, definitely. Like it. Yeah, and you know, on the stage, I actually, you know, think like it looked much more smaller than, you know, how it's in reality. So
yeah, that's true. Actually, all those photos we've seen, like in the lead up to the rehearsals, showed this enormous empty stage. And actually, when they put all the elements in there, and we had all the lighting and LED effects, it kind of didn't seem quite so big.
I think it also helps the fact that the green room, it's like the shape of the entire arena.
Yeah,
They fill the space pretty well.
Yeah. I think Khan might be frozen.
Because he stayed too much in the same position.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess we keep talking until he comes back. I don't know if he still hears us or not. But yeah, I think that they've done a really nice job with the stage, and I'm really looking forward to seeing. I mean, today we saw a lot of really great things, but we saw them in like their most raw form because, like,
the rehearsal, yeah,
exactly. And I remember, like when Lithuania was doing their first, well, actually it was their third run through by the time we actually could hear and see them. Like you could tell that it was very early with the staging, because like at one point, the lead singer was standing here and the spotlight was like next to him, and he's like, "Where's my spot?" And, so I mean, you can tell that it was still early days in the development of these stage shows. And there were other moments as well, like Slovenia, where like there's a moment where she like there's a like that boom beat, before she sings like Hallelujah, and on that beat the floor is meant to light up from a point, and like she was standing here and the floor lights up like 2 meters away from her. So I mean, it was really, you could tell that it was early days, but you could also see the potential for some really amazing shows.
Yeah, also Leslie Roy in her press conference said that she's almost done with the staging. She was pleased like 80% of everything she wanted to do on stage, so she still has something to change there, or like adjust in order to be ready.
And I think that's quite normal, on the first day. Oh, Cam, we must be frozen to Cam. I think that's quite normal on the first day of things, that that there's little creases and stuff to iron out. I know that in the Sweden press conference, I think her name was Lotta, the delegation chief for Sweden. She was saying that as far as first rehearsals go, like this was the best they could hope for. This was like really, really good for them, and they were really happy with how it went, and they can just make some little tweaks from here on in. Yeah, but I think overall, hi, you're back. Hopefully, Cam's here to stay now.
It kicked me out. I don't know, and I think like my laptop is the only device that is using Wi-Fi, so I don't know what's happening right now. Like,
yeah. Oh well. Did you have anything else to add quickly before you freeze again? Before we move on to more detailed.
Come on, Elsa, spill that thing.
I mean, today I was like working actually behind the scenes more than in the press center. So from what I see is that I enjoyed the experience. Like I enjoyed rehearsal. I can say that, and I'll talk more details when we talk about Russia. But I high-tech stage with a professional organization team. And I really appreciate that, because like we had some like no LED, etc. And then Israel had some issues as well. So I think this looks pretty good actually so far.
Yeah.
And I also need to mention how easy the press center is to use. Like that's another positive.
It's great, isn't it? Yeah, I really found. The access, it's very,
like the first time you log in, you can. Oh,
it's okay. We can hear you, but you're frozen.
I'm talking because I hear you. The first time you get into the press center, you can find everything easily, and that's a big plus. And also the way that you can interpret the other papers, like.
Yeah, and also
that's
also what was really great this morning was that when things were going like technically wrong, when Lithuania was having their run-throughs, immediately into the chat, the what's it called, web support or web care, they have like a like the organization jumped into the press chat and was like, hey guys, this is what's happening, and explained to the press what was going on. So it wasn't a whole bunch of us at home going, oh my god, my computer's broken. It was, they were really good at keeping us informed. And I really liked that, because then they were able to solve the issue quite quickly with very little drama.
Yeah, I guess the most fun today was that chat from the website, because everyone was having like a good time.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we talked to general the event, we can actually move on to the rehearsal, which we can kick this off with Lithuania, who are first in the ring order and also did their rehearsal in the first place. And we're moving to Rin right now.
Yeah,
and she will tell us first impressions.
Well, Lithuania, I was surprised and not surprised. I mean, in both good and bad ways. I mean, the staging and the show is exactly the same as the national final. Like they literally changed nothing. So in that way, it's kind of a slightly, I don't want to say negative or bad, but it's kind of
let down,
tiny little letdown because there isn't an elevation in the show. It's exactly what we're used to. They performed it flawlessly because it's the same thing they've been performing over and over again. So they performed it really flawlessly. I will say that the vocals were a lot better than what I've heard before. Like his voice was like butter. It was so smooth and it was really, really beautiful. What else have I got here? It was very, very polished, but borderline boring. Do you know what I mean? Like those dance moves and everything that they've done is not a surprise and is not special anymore, unfortunately. I really just wanted them to like throw something out of left field into that, choreography or into that performance, just to like give it a little spice, to give it a little shake up. At one point though, which was so amazing, in between, like when they were trying to iron out all these technical difficulties, he started singing, and I forget his name, and I'm so sorry about that. It's
Vaidotas?
Yeah, Vaidotas. He started singing "You Are So Beautiful to Me," you know that song? And it was like goosebumps. I'm like, "You are so beautiful to me." That song, I can't sing. But that song,
like,
he started...
During the rehearsal? Randomly?
Like during the rehearsal, just randomly, while they were like trying to get the technical stuff working, he just started like singing it, and it was really, really lovely. And I was like, oh, goosebumps. So this guy can really sing. The third run through, which was the one that we actually saw with sound and with picture, because like the run through 2, we had like picture for 3/4 only, and then we had only sound, no picture. And so run through 3, we got like in its complete version, and I didn't expect it, but it was actually so good that it gave me goosebumps. So I mean, it's not the kind of song that you'd expect to give someone goosebumps, but it was actually very, very polished. Only criticism is that it's exactly the same.
But my question is, because Sweden usually use the same formula, like whatever we see on the Melody Festival stage, we kind of see on the main stage. I mean,
but this year they've made some changes.
Yeah, it's one of the few. But I mean, if for Sweden is kind of working all the time, and also we live in this Eurovision bubble, and there will be more people from outside that didn't have the chance to see the performance from their national final. I mean, they will still.
I think, that's true. I think that mainstream will eat this song up.
Yeah,
and they will appreciate it. And I mean, it's got global appeal in the sense that you could be a 13-year-old boy sitting somewhere, or you could be an 85-year-old grandmother sitting somewhere else. And it's going to have that really broad, like pan-European appeal. And they're going to do very well. I find it they're definitely going through the final. That is, I can even say that right now after seeing just the first rehearsal. There's no way that Lithuania is not qualifying for the final. And I would say that there is no way that they are going to finish outside the top 10 in the final, probably even inside the top 5. It's just very slick, and it's going to have, as I said, really global appeal.
Mm-hmm. From what I understand is that like I got the impression that Lithuania will probably finish in top 3 in the semifinal, because we like haven't seen the performances of the second half of the first semi, but this just screams televoting favorite. And also, I don't think that juries will like ignore this, because this is, as you said, this is a polished version of of an already good performance.
Yeah,
I think the thing is the stage in the Lithuanian national final wasn't that high tech, because it was just a national final, and this time I think performing on a bigger stage is definitely in favor of them. Like, they have the moment shine, and also they're performing first, and they are the starter, like party starter of this semi. So
and it will totally start the party.
High, I guess. They will set the bar high for the others.
And
which,
saying that,
brings us to the next one, right?
Exactly, Slovenia.
So yeah, Slovenia was next, and
I'm trying to hear something positive. Please make it.
Yeah, I'm trying. This is why I'm buying myself a moment to.
She can sing. She
has
sing.
beautiful vocals. I mean, her voice is so unique, and her voice, like her vocals, were so on point. They were so perfect. They were absolutely beautiful. And also another positive is that the staging, it looks like finally Slovenia has poured some good money into some staging. The only, like they use a lot of like the light effects and a lot of the LED effects. The only thing I will say is that at times the LED effects are a little bit cheesy. So they've got all this beautiful kind of like, light effects behind her when she's singing on the main stage. And it's really impactful and really beautiful. And then she goes for a little walk along sort of like I guess it's like not really a corridor, but there's like a part where you walk and it's got LEDs on the side. And when they're doing that, she is, they've got really random LED graphics of nature. So like mountains and rivers and trees and stuff. And I was finding it really a stretch to connect the lyrics and the meaning of the song to these kind of like images. And I kind of found it a little cheesy in a way, that it kind of was like using the technology for the sake of using it, not because it actually gave something to the performance. She's wearing exactly the same outfit. I mean, it's a great outfit. She looks fantastic. I would wear it. So, I mean, there's no complaint there, but I mean, it's a white caped jumpsuit. It's not like, maybe she'll change it for the grand final. I don't know. Yeah, I think that there are a few sort of like staging things they need to iron out. I mean, as I mentioned before, there's a few sort of issues where like today she wasn't on the spot she needed to be on for the effect to like really have an impact. There was a couple of times she nearly tripped over her cape, so they probably need to like shorten that by like 10 centimeters. But other than that, it was a really nice vocal. Judging purely on the first rehearsal, and I'm sure she's going to get better in the next rehearsals, but judging purely on this rehearsal, I would say it's going to be tight. I definitely not a sure qualifier. Maybe she'll sneak in because her voice is so unique and beautiful, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow.
Okay. And the third one in the running order is Russia. So I had the chance to watch Russia today, and I'm a big Russia, like my favorite, and therefore I had. The thing is, I didn't have high expectations going like locked in. He knew would serve as another version of national final performance, and they did. There's elevation.
Can you repeat that?
I think he said there's elevation. Can you hear us again?
Okay. I can hear you.
Okay, you're back and you're moving.
I said that there's definitely an elevation, but not to the extent where I wish I could say this is amazing. Like, I wasn't blown away by that. And my first reaction, I wrote in the group that it's good, but okay, like let's start with the Russian thing. It makes this quite borderline joke entry, but at the same time I'm glad that they added something to the performance, like a new element. The performance was quite aggressive, and like she was directly interacting with the audience, with her facial expressions, etc. But they were like a little bit aggressive, and this first part of the that Russian doll part actually takes away from that aggressivity and adds a little bit joy to the performance. And like she reflects her lovability and energy in the first minute, like right at the beginning of the performance. Then she gets out of the Russian doll and starts performing with the red worker suit that she also had in the national. My first issue is that thing stays on the stage, and
I was going to ask you that actually, because I saw a picture and it was kind of like just a shell of a dress standing there.
Yeah, it stays there the whole time, and it takes actually. Oh,
we can hear you. You're back.
It's fine.
Okay, so it actually takes from the interaction of Manisha with the backing vocalist, like that intimate conversation kind of thing. Is okay.
Yeah,
so Bogi was, and I thought I was gone for a second. Okay, like it stays there the whole time, and it looks like a person. That was a little bit weird. That was little bit creepy, actually. Not, but yeah, the same choreo at the national final. But I don't know if Lithuania and Slovenia use that screen that actually goes to the green room, like goes in the direction.
Yeah, that's what I meant, like the corridor. Yeah.
Exactly. And Russia used that as well. I like that the song is fully in Russian, and it makes it less accessible, although there is a lyrical depth to it. Obviously not understandable for the mainstream viewer. But they added like English sentences like "you're special," "you can do it," "you're the best," kind of thing. That kind of empowerment kind of sentences, and I actually like that because that adds accessibility to the performance. I also like the Zoom session thing where a lot of women and people who are human, and that's really important because we are talking about Russia, like, obviously, and that rainbow community representation for Russia is like really important, and she dares to do that. So another plus side as well. I like that's not so noticeable, but they are there and you can see them if you concentrate. So overall, it was a taste, what performs like well staged. But I kind of wish there were like other elements to it, because as you said in Lithuania, this is like the same as the national final, and as we're in the Eurovision bubble, we expect more because we are already confronted, and this performance is already exposed. And also last sign note, I think Russia, like the delegation or the broadcaster, I didn't feel like this was one of those Russia's high tech, a lot of money invested performance. Like this was, we were all talking about rawness, and this is raw. But I don't know if like they just let Manisha on the stage. I don't know, but overall, I'm sure this is qualifying because this was quality. Like I don't know if maybe this was the only that I saw, but I enjoyed that, and I don't think that. Like this is good. This is really good.
It's funny because sorry. Today I was actually talking to a friend in Belarus, and obviously they're not in it, but she was saying that they are fully behind Manisha because like they don't understand how such a song with such a confronting cultural that's confronting a cultural issue, which is also true in Belarus. They don't understand how like she was allowed to go to Eurovision. So for them, this is like such a big deal that this whole woman empowerment, this whole rainbow community element, like for them, it's so important that she has this platform to make those points. And they're all like, How did this happen? Like how was she allowed to go? But at the same time, they were like, oh, we're sure she didn't get any funding or any help. So
yeah, I mean,
you could say that. Yeah.
One question for both of you. Do you think that the fact that Russia took a step back, I mean, the Russian delegation or whoever is sponsoring Russia in Eurovision took a step back and didn't overproduce that staging that we are so bored during Russia's performances in the past? Do you think that that's necessarily a bad thing?
I mean, I think in one way it's really good for her to be able to do this herself. I think it goes well with the message of female empowerment. I think it goes well with the message of her being a strong woman, that she doesn't need to have, you know, all the crazy elements that like Sergei had in either of his you know, performances. So I think that, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think she probably could have done with a bit more
money,
financial help. But I think that it's kind of authentic to what she's singing about and who she is.
And also,
but on the other side, you know, Russia is like really obsessed with discourse and success at Eurovision, and the fact that they're not really investing in this entry is kind of weird, actually, because they wouldn't do that to Sergei Lazarev, for example, or another act.
Definitely not.
Like, I don't know, but they even if I don't know if that's true to say, but they even to a certain extent for Yulia Samoilova's performance. Like this is not you know, bad or
yeah.
Well, I guess for me is that Sergei is this Russia's sweetheart, while Manizha is this rebellious daughter.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kanye was saying she got some nasty questions in the press conference too. So I mean,
that's right. That's right.
I was surprised when you were telling me about some of the things that got thrown at her.
We can actually tell that question here, like about what we're talking about. So the presenter asked Manizha. I don't know if that question was like her own question or came from the press, because they don't spit it. But the question was, when you were born, you didn't talk Russian, but now you're representing Russia with a song called "Russian Woman." How does it feel? And she was like, "Yeah." I mean, she gave a random answer, but
it's such a rude question. It's basically asking, you know, what's your right to represent Russia? I mean, it's a terrible question. Whoever brought that up
comes from the organizers. Honestly,
I mean, that is really to me that's very prejudiced.
Also,
and actually, you know, that's the reason why I rushed. That's the reason why I rushed the group and, you know, told you about this, because that's so weird. Like,
I mean, you'd think that if it came from the press and not the host, that they have like this certain ability to filter questions. Like they should. I mean, why didn't the host read that and be like, "Oh no, that's a bit off," and not read it out?
I think that was the organization team's question. Like, I don't think that this came from press, because the press is like more kind, you know.
Yeah, I mean, right. I guess we should probably keep moving along because we're almost at 30 minutes already. So next up was Sweden, and so that was back to me because I am a huge Sweden stan. There's no secret about that. So I'm going to start off with mentioning Tussa's outfit. He was wearing the most spectacular outfit. It was similar to his Melfest outfit, but like was sleeveless, and instead of sleeves, he had on like black long gloves that were completely bejeweled, and he had on gorgeous blingy like a neck piece. I think that's kind of like more than a necklace, but I don't think it was a shirt. He looked beautiful. He looked absolutely stunning. The cut of the outfit looked amazing on him. Again, I would totally wear this outfit. I definitely, maybe not in red, but you know, it was a beautiful outfit. Now the staging, of course, it's very similar to Melody Festival, but they've gone bigger. They have adapted the performance to fit the stage because it is a different stage. Like the mellow stage is kind of more, it was kind of longer and skinnier, whereas this one is a lot, you know, wider.
Yeah.
So they've adapted the performance and the staging to fit this different stage format. And they haven't just like, you know, like stretched it out. They've actually thought about the elements and created some really amazing moments. That key change, when Tussa does the key change, oh my God, that is a moment. It is both a moment in what they've done with the staging. It's a moment when he like sings that note. It is really quite spectacular. Another sort of staging aspect which makes a much bigger impact now, you know, when the dancers like start walking forward, when he's doing that A Million Voices and like patting his chest, when he starts doing that, so now it's not just the 4 dancers behind him. Now they've actually like multiplied the dancers and maybe some other people, I'm not sure, on the screen behind him. So you actually look like you've got like this big kind of like army of people coming forward. So it makes a much, much stronger impact. It actually looks more literally like A Million Voices. So that was a really nice change that they did there. I'm just having a look at my notes. Overall, I mean, the guy just had surgery on his vocal cords.
Yeah.
And to then arrive at Eurovision, and we're talking like such a short period of time between surgery and now. And there were a couple of places where I wouldn't say pitchy and I wouldn't say off, but there are a couple of places where he wasn't quite at his usual standard of amazingness, but it was still great. And I mean, you know, we're extra critical when it comes to Sweden because we hold them to such a high standard. But I think that come final time, he's going to be amazing. He's going to, I know that, you know, he's going to give it his all for sure. And we all know that he has the ability to hit these notes. And he did hit them. They were just not as strong as, or maybe slightly scratchier. I mean, he has kind of a slightly scratchy tone to his voice anyway, but they were sort of slightly scratchier than normal. But overall, I was blown away by the whole impact. It was such a show. Like really, it was a show at Melody Festival, and it's an even bigger show at Eurovision. And that's what they needed to do. They've been very, very smart with the changes that they made to the staging, which is totally unusual for Sweden. Then I sort of caught the press conference after that, and he's just so lovable. He's so funny, and like he was joking around, and the host really responded well to like him joking around, and the audience, the press that was there really responded well to that. I mean, at one point someone asked about the staging changes, and he passed it over to the delegation chief, and she like gave an answer that it was, you know, a very Swedish answer, so a very polite, correct, no frills kind of answer. And Tusse looked at her and went, no, we're going to do this again. And he like, you know, talked up the changes that they'd made. And then she was like, oh yeah, that's true. We've actually done this, and this. And so it was a really nice dynamic. It was kind of he came across as, you know, everyone's sort of kid brother that's a bit goofy. It's sort of like extra excited. He just came across as a really cool guy. And I think that, you know, if he can let everybody know that part of his personality, then things will go well for him.
I have a question about the press conference. Did they mention Black Lives Matter movement? Like
the
message of the Black Lives Matter?
No, they didn't mention that at all, actually. No one asked about it, and it wasn't brought up by the delegation. I mean, Tusse got a lot of questions. So like the host even said, oh, I had some other questions, but we'll have to save them up for next time. So, I mean, it could have been in amongst that, but Tusse was very clear in saying that the song is for everyone that feels like they can't be themselves or can't express themselves. And, you know, it's about finding our voice and, you know, expressing who we are and where we're going, kind of thing. It was really nice. He was extremely articulate, which was a surprise because like all week on Instagram and stuff, he's been saying, oh, my English is so bad. He could speak English. Like it was so good. It was like native speaker level. So he doesn't have to worry about his English at all.
Okay. Nice to hear that. Because I was like a little bit concerned about Sweden because of the vocals, like the surgery. But if you say it's good, like I'm kind of more relieved now. I actually today had yesterday and today that maybe Sweden could NQ just because of that vocal. You know,
I think that I think he'd really have to kill the vocals. Like he'd really have to like go bad. But today they were not bad. I mean, as I said, there was a couple of places that were just a little bit either held back or a little bit scratchy, but like not unpleasant. Like it wasn't the wrong note. But the show itself, I mean, It is spectacular. I didn't get to see the Irish show, but I would say that this is probably going to be one of the best stage shows that we're going to see on Eurovision.
Statement. Let's see if. Oh, by the way, did you see the results of the press voting today? Because like the press center votes on the best performance, and actually Russia won it.
Oh,
Sweden
really?
finished third. Yeah,
Oh,
Sweden finished third. Lithuania second. Lithuania.
Oh.
Lithuania.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And yeah, so we can move on to the next country, which is Australia, but they showed a clip about Australia, so we can actually skip that kind of. So like we didn't see a rehearsal footage.
Right?
Exactly. 2 minutes or a minute, 2 minutes long. And yeah, it's unfortunate that she's not going to perform in Rotterdam, but that's what
it's a bit of a shame as well that they couldn't put together more of like a press pack kind of thing to like play in her time slot, because I mean, showing us a sort of 2-3 minute video isn't going to make an impact, and that's a disadvantage to her. I mean, it would have been way better if they'd had like a kind of a funny video with her, you know, like doing some, I don't know, some versions of the song, or I don't know, just a little bit of the process, because we get to see the process.
It just said the session has ended, and like people waited for like the remaining 28 minutes. Like it was a little bit weird. But actually, the last thing that I want, the worst thing that can happen is that Australia qualifies because of the pity votes. Like, I don't want that to happen. Like, that song doesn't deserve to qualify. Like,
although it is catchy as hell. I know that the song,
but catchy.
The song is not the best quality, but I can see how people might throw a few votes its way, because it's the one song that's gotten into my head and just won't stop technicoloring me like the whole day. I won't vote for it, but I can see like how a lot of people will vote for it because it is catchy.
I think like and also today Montaigne like shared something on Instagram, and she was like, many people are telling me that I can't win, but you need to vote for me. So vote for me. Like she was like,
I read that, and
asking.
I couldn't tell whether she was being kind of like funny, like funny or sarcastic. Like on one side, I was like, oh, that's a bit like it sounds like somebody is like annoyed, like she sounded a bit annoyed. But on the other hand, I was like, okay, maybe she's kind of being funny about it, because I mean, it's social media. Unless it's a video, we can't get the tone right. So I mean, that message is vastly different if she's delivering it with like a hard voice or like laughing. So yeah, I really wasn't sure what she meant, but I mean, comments like that are not going to help her. Unfortunately.
Yeah, let's see. It will be interesting one to see, because pity votes, how can they affect the results? Let's see. And the next one.
Oh.
After Australia, we had
North Macedonia.
I'm not bulletproof.
I really wanted to like something about the song. I really did. I really tried my best to like it. And I'm looking through my notes, and I'd written at the beginning beautiful vocal, and then I crossed it out because that's kind of where the song went. I mean, it's really
you said that they invested in the staging. Let's
let's do something something positive. So at the beginning of the song, and I don't want to give the whole thing away, but like he's wearing a black suit, and they actually project onto his black suit with some lighting effects, which is really cool, looks really beautiful. North Macedonia definitely has put some money into their staging. The lighting is very tasteful behind him. Like it really does kind of support the song and make the song better. And then it kind of, I'm just going to hope and pray that by the time he performs this at Eurovision, he's going to iron out the very big creases, because the first like minute and a half of this song was really pretty, was really beautiful. The lighting was beautiful, the effects were beautiful, and I was like, oh wow, this is like really surprising. This is really nice. It's, you know, I could really see some votes getting thrown its way, and then it went bad. And it went bad. The first version, when it came time to sing that big note that he sings, he didn't even attempt it. He just skipped it. And I was like, okay, maybe he's like saving his voice, no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And then and then it goes on like a tiny bit more. And then there's this really, as you said, like alluded to before, there's this really weird Dotter moment. So he's had all these like really beautiful, tasteful, sophisticated lighting effects. And then he kind of like rips off a piece of his black suit and he's wearing like a mirror vest. And it's so unnecessary and looks so cheap in comparison to all these beautiful lighting effects that he's just had. I mean, I've seen some photos since then with all like, you know, the lights sort of shining off him, and the photos look great. It didn't look great on camera. So whether that's something that they can improve, like whether it's to do with the camera angles or whatever, whether that's something they can improve for like future rehearsals and for the semi-final, I don't know. But it just went from, and I think one of the issues for me as well is that all of the lighting effects until that point are very goldy, very yellow, very warm. And then all of a sudden when he pulls that open and he's got the mirror vest on, it's very silver, very white. Right? And it kind of doesn't fit. It feels like two, like from the staging aspect, it feels like two performances. Like it doesn't fit together. So that was really weird.
So,
and then
so it was like the total opposite of less is more. Like he probably wanted to go like a bit glam. Like
but it was like it started sophisticated and went trailer trash real fast. And then
or just tacky.
What?
Should we say trash or just like tacky, next level tacky?
It was a bit trashy. And then the third run through.
By the way,
yeah.
No, carry on. Hit me with it, by the way.
You're gone.
No, we're here. Bogey and I.
Oh, okay. Okay. I want to dive in and ask. You know, and North Macedonia as songs that we've written off, and also the odds have written off. So if you compare Slovenia and Macedonia, which one is better?
Slovenia.
You're not keen on both stagings, but
Slovenia, the vocals are better, because what I was about to say was by the third run through, Vasil was missing all the notes. Like he attempted to hit the big note, missed it. And then after that, there was 2 or 3 other notes that he completely, I don't know what he was singing because it wasn't the song that we know. And so for that reason, I mean, Anna gave 2 performances that we heard were very consistent. The vocals were on point. Macedonia, until we have the mirror vest Dotter moment, has the better staging. And then it doesn't.
Okay.
I mean, I wanted to like it. I really did. And I tried really hard. The one thing I will say that I love about Vasil is that when he sings like he's living his best life. Like it is like the best moment of his entire life to be on that stage. He is so like, he emanates joy and pride and all of these like really positive things that I really like that about him. And so I can't hate the performance, but I don't love it. And I wish I did, but I don't. And that's it. I'm not going to go on one of my cancelling rants.
And from North Macedonia, we are moving on to Ireland, and Bogey watched the Irish rehearsal. Let's hear from you.
Let's say that I witnessed one of the best staging I've seen in a while in Eurovision.
Wow.
I was not a fan of the song in the past, and probably I'm not still like the biggest stan of Leslie Roy's song Map, but the staging was so complex. And to prove that, all the countries had the opportunity to rehearse 3 times, right? Well, Ireland only had 2 opportunities. That's how complex was the staging. So basically, when I first like looked at it, I was mind blown because I couldn't figure it out what happens there. I was like, so are they holograms or what's happening? Because you have this like enormous screen in the background with some paper trees, because they are literally like this sort of paper trees, and then you see something happening in the front of her, like she's in a, I don't know, in a sort of horror Disney sort of story. It's like a, I don't know, like a fantasy storybook, because she's like the main character. She's like running through the forest, and you could see those paper trees along her. And then there are like two books that are like opening in front, in like on that and on this, and in the middle. And also, I like the fact that the staging is dynamic. So she's not only staying on that on the main stage, she's running to this sort of aisle, that smaller stage inside the arena. And then I was mind blown by the fact that I thought they are holograms till I saw actually what happened on stage. There are like boxes, black boxes that are not that big, but they filmed them like on the right angle, so they will look like holograms, but they are like literally boxes with shapes, in the shapes of trees. So it was mind-blowing how complex the whole staging was. Also, I really liked her outfit. It was a dark green velvet one-piece costume, and I really hope she will have at least a similar outfit during the final two. I was let down by the vocals. I mean, I was so impressed by the staging that I was unimpressed by her vocals. I feel like she has to, I don't know, repeat more or something, but something was missing. It was not that she was off, but she didn't have that power in her voice that we were used to in the video. I feel like something was missing from there. Maybe, I don't know, it was not only her problem, but also probably the backing vocalist. I'm not sure, but the staging didn't match the voice. That was my main issue. But talking only about the staging, I am surprised that she didn't win the votes of the journalists, because I was impressed by it. Yeah,
Khan's gone again. Hello, Khan.
Oh yeah, you're. I'm back. I should say.
You are back. You were fine.
I was gonna ask you, because you said that vocals weren't on point, like worse than expected, let's say. So is the reason maybe that she's so static on the stage that influenced, like affected her vocals, or did you get the impression maybe that she was keeping her voice? Because Leslie's vocals were actually really, let's say, concerning. Like they weren't constantly on point. Like there were some issues there, and they apparently didn't really fix that fully. So what do you think was the reason?
I think the main reason behind this, I mean, I'm not Leslie Roy to say the exact reason behind it. For me, it was that she tried to interact and had that staging on point and be like doing all the, I don't know, like this sort of fixed robotic steps in order to respect the staging, that she didn't focus on the vocal part. I guess she was way too in her head to have that staging well done.
But so, I guess she could be like Lazarev, like Sergei, and like I remember back when he did the only one, his first rehearsal as well was a bit like that, and it wasn't until like he found his way and felt comfortable in that really complicated staging that he was actually able to deliver it well. So maybe she's going to be like that. Maybe when we see her second rehearsal, maybe by the time she gets to the semifinal, maybe she'll feel more comfortable in that staging.
She kind of said that. In other words, she said during the press conference that she kind of still has some stuff to do on stage in order to be 100% ready. So I guess that even though it's complex, it's gonna be even more complex that we have seen in the first rehearsal, and it's only the first rehearsal. So I am confident that at least she will improve, because she has like a really big room to improve the vocal part.
Yeah.
Oh, but also, yeah,
you said that Ireland had one of the best stagings that you ever see. Interestingly, Ireland actually finished 4th or 5th in the press center voting today. Like Russia was like first with kind of 74 points or so, but Ireland got only 20. Like there was a huge difference between.
I mean, that could also depend on who's in the press center, doesn't it? Like at any one time.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was maybe the wow element, because I was not impressed by the song all these months. So now when I see this sort of big improvement, at least from my point of view, I was mind blown. But also, if you look at all the websites that are dealing with the rehearsals, they all say that the staging is not necessarily good, but it's very complex. So yeah, but it's not only that, but it's the only one that has this sort of, I don't know how to say, uniformity. You all had to say something at least bad about the fact that, I don't know, for Russia it was that the first part doesn't match the ending, because at the beginning she's like nice and cute and the way she interacts with the camera, but in the end she kind of sings more aggressively. With Leslie Ray is not like that. She is the same from the very beginning till the end. And this is the good part, I guess. She's more
also one last question, and probably we'll come to the end of this live stream. Do you think that Ireland may qualify? Because Ireland is one of the countries that I qualify, and I haven't watched the rehearsal, and it's one of the rehearsals that I'm actually looking forward to in the second, rehearsal time. So, what do you think about that? Because you thought this was a non-qualifier.
Talking with other people that had the opportunity to see what I saw, we could all agree on two things. One, the staging was good, but the vocal kind of let us down in such a way that we may see Ireland not qualifying. So yeah, I mean, at this point,
I might be opposite of Slovenia.
Yeah, I don't see Ireland as a a sure non-qualifier. But if she doesn't improve the vocal part, we may see Ireland as finishing, I don't know, somewhere between 12 or 13 in the ranking. But it won't be a mess. This is my point. It's not going to be Ireland's worst result with like 0 points at the end.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting to hear. And yeah, obviously we have second rehearsal, so that will probably play a bigger role in our predictions. So now that we talked and covered all of the songs that have been rehearsed today, we can say that tomorrow 9 songs will be rehearsed. So 9 countries will have their first
tomorrow
rehearsal.
Is a big day.
Exactly. And let's also quickly mention those countries: Cyprus, Norway, Croatia, Belgium, Israel, Romania, Azerbaijan, Ukraine, and currently leading the betting odds, Malta. For sure. Let me also ask you, finishing this live, who are you most excited about, and who are you most looking forward to?
Ooh, Malta, actually. I'm really excited to see her on the stage. I'm also quite excited, though, to see Croatia, because I feel like Croatia has the chance to be amazing or flop. I don't think it's going to be in the middle. It's going to be one way or the other. So I'm really excited to see that. And of course, I'm excited to see Norway. Well, you guys know how I feel about Norway, but I'm excited to see what he brings to the Eurovision stage.
Bogi?
For me, the first one, it's Israel, because I really want her to do well. And I will let you know tomorrow if Israel is going to qualify when I will see that staging, because if the staging is good enough with the way she sings, she will definitely qualify. But I have to see the staging first. So yeah, that's the country that I'm most obsessed with at this point. And the second one is Romania, just because I want to see if Roxanne will bring energy to the stage.
And my countries are like Malta. And also, I can't go wrong with my El Diablo, like Cyprus, and they are the first song of the day, and like Elena, like really talking as if she is the winner, like he's the run how do you call it, like front runner of this contest. Like she's really ambitious and she really thinks that she can win this with the staging. So I'm actually really curious to find out like what they're going to bring on stage. And also Azerbaijan. And the thing is, although I'm not a big fan of the song, I think Azerbaijan like will come up with something that will be enough to qualify. They invest on the stage. And yeah, so that was a nice chat, and it was our first live stream on YouTube. So yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So,
well, I guess we'll see everybody again. Well, during the day, we'll be over on Instagram. So anyone who wants to catch up with us during the day and see what we're doing with the rehearsals and the press conferences and everything else that happens during the day, should head over to @the12pois over on over on Instagram. Otherwise, we'll be back over here tomorrow night, won't we, for a day 2 roundup?
Exactly.
Yeah, and also probably around the same time, right?
Yeah, probably. And also, like, we can actually talk about it in private chat, like, but we can actually do separate videos as well, because we did for Instagram today as well, and it worked. So let's see if what we're going to come up with tomorrow. Tomorrow is a new day, so let's see.
Absolutely. Let's see. All right. Well,
so thank you so much, guys, for joining.
It was a lovely day with you guys. Happy Eurovision.
Exactly. Exactly. Happy Eurovision. And yeah, see you tomorrow then.
See you tomorrow, guys. Bye.
Bye. So let's end the broadcast. So, Bogi, see you.
Yeah.